This is the Cannondale Topstone Carbon, and in this video I'm going to go over the components, talk about the ride quality on road, gravel, and single track, and then give my conclusion. Now this bike has the infamous Kingpin suspension, which provides 30mm of rear wheel travel. This specific bike has WTB 40C nano tires, a 2x11 Shimano 105 group set with an SI crank. That cylinder is an accessory you can buy for bolt-on storage, and stopping power is provided by 105 hydraulic disc brakes. And finally, it has the Ballistech carbon frame and fork, all weighing in at around 21 pounds. This build is somewhat modified, but this bike originally retailed for $2,750. Cannondale offers many different models though, in both carbon and aluminum configurations. Alright, so we're going to start off with the road riding qualities of this bike, and obviously it's a carbon road bike, so it pedals very efficiently. If you're coming from a very stiff road bike, you might notice the rear end flex a bit, but if you're coming from mountain biking, it's really not too bad. I didn't notice it personally, and I think it transferred your pedaling inputs very well. Of course, the Topstone wasn't really designed for road riding, and it fares pretty well on it, but we gotta get to what's important. The gravel and single track stuff. Now I was a really big fan of how wide these drop bars were. It really gave me a good amount of confidence for descending on this bike, and luckily the Shimano 105 disc brakes can stop you pretty quickly. They're nothing like a mountain bike disc brake, but it'll slow you down in time, and these upgraded WTB nano tires really gave you plenty of traction, and combining that with the Kingpin suspension, it provided a very smooth and comfortable ride. For the 3-4 hours that I was on this bike, I had no issues and I was perfectly fine. This bike in particular was a size large, and I'm 5'11", but I guess 6 foot with my riding shoes on, and the size range goes from 5'11" to 6'4" for the large. So if you're 5'11" but you think you've got shorter arms, I think you should stick to the medium because the reach is pretty long on this bike. Felt very comfortable and roomy for me, and I think that really aids in the descending confidence that I felt on this bike. And speaking of the descending capability of this bike, you can also get it in 27.5 inch wheels, and those come with 47C tires, tubeless ready of course, and I think that would really make this bike even better at descending, and you'd be able to tackle more technically challenging single track. Speaking of which, we're about to get onto a nice short section of single track. Say that 10 times fast. Surprise, surprise, this bike is very fun on single track as well. The little bit of suspension that it has in the rear does make it a bit more comfortable, but the main thing that I noticed was that when you're trying to climb stuff that's rooty and rocky, you just don't have the traction of a mountain bike. I guess it's better than a road bike, obviously, would be on single track. I kind of expected you to be able to climb better, but you really don't. However, descending is nice and fun. Everything becomes exhilarating when you've got skinny tires and no real suspension. For me, I found it kind of challenging to push this bike in the corners, or at least when I tried to corner it like I would my mountain bike. But I think that's part of the fun, is that if you're coming from mountain biking, a gravel bike is so much more twitchy. You know, you don't got a slack head angle. You've got a bit of reach on this bike, but you don't have that roomy feeling, and you don't have the traction that really gives you that confidence. But it's just enough confidence to make it fun, lively, and keeps your heart rate up. And I think that's what's cool about gravel riding in particular, is it can make the more mundane things exciting. Especially when you might have world-class trails right outside your back door. Most people are likely to have, you know, some double track with some rough spots sprinkled in. And I think that's where gravel biking is really shining for a lot of people. Now that I'm done discussing my gravel theory, I'll get to the important question at hand. Would I buy the Cannondale Topstone Carbon for $2,750? And I think the answer is yes. If I had that kind of money laying around, I think I would prefer this kind of bike over an all-out, you know, super stiff road bike. You know that I'm coming at this from the perspective of mountain biking, with full suspension, big tires, yada yada. That's just what I'm used to. And when I think about getting a road bike, I want something that's comfortable, and I am not going to be afraid if the going gets a little bit tougher than smooth, perfect pavement. And I think gravel bikes like this really fill that purpose, and I think that's what the Kingpin suspension allows you to do. No more and no less. So that's about it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to me babble on about a cycling discipline that I don't know much about. And if you want to see more videos like this, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and let me know if you're into gravel riding yourself down in the comments. And remember to stay adventure, my friends.